2, 1.
Tucker,
Hey,
good to see you. Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Pleasure. It's a
Absolutely.
pleasure. Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. I grew up with your son playing soccer and had him on the podcast, half a year ago maybe?
Yeah.
And what a great person he's turned out to be. And we still play a little soccer together. And
Yeah, a little.
yeah,
A lot.
Yeah, play a lot. No kidding. And kind of got in touch with you again, and I hadn't seen you almost in 15 years.
It's been a while.
And Jay told me a little bit about your business and some of your ventures outside of business, and thought it was really interesting and want to get you on here and kind of tell about your journey and your story. And you have a local business here called Performance Packaging Group, and you've had it for almost 20 years?
Yeah, 2002.
Okay. And would love for you to walk us through your journey, how you got it started, and what it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to. I'm going to run it real hard on you.
Yeah.
So, Performance Packaging Group, partner of mine was Bruce Young. We started this thing in 2002. It was kind of a default situation. I had gone to work with him. He was a general manager of a little company called Bayesian Industries, which was a Hallmark dedicated hand workshop. The long and short of it was him and his partner called me in at that time to help diversify the business. So, I'm the quintessential sales type guy, marketing or whatever. So I had left my job at that time. So I found a piece of business. It took about a year really to find it. That's what it takes. Mm-hmm. And right at the time that happened, that business, Bayesian Industries, went down because their customer pulled everything to Mexico. So my partner Bruce and I, we had that little piece of business that I got and 4 people. And we said, well, 2 old guys at this point in time, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to do this. And so that's what we did.
So you bought the business initially?
No, well, that business folded. So we started out with nothing.
Okay.
He had spent everything he had. I had spent everything I had doing, contracting in between the last job and this job. And so we came in flat broke.
Okay.
With 4 people. Had to borrow money for the first payroll. And the rest is history. Mm-hmm. So that's the way we started. Now, Performance Packaging Group, we're a hand workshop, pretty much. We do things by hand, but we're a fulfillment in these days. It's been evolving. We started out just doing, odd jobs, small jobs coming into our warehouse. And then after that, we turned it into contract labor and a whole lot of other things. So pick and pack, anything it takes hands to do is what we do.
Give me an example.
For example, say one of the local companies, printing company, decide they're doing work for one of the other printers, big printers, and at the end of the manufacturing process, there has to be some quality control, or some fulfillment at that point in time, or maybe they have to put labels on packages or anything it might be, or it might have gone out, come back in bad. We had to relabel it. So that's what we do. Get the hands on it, because most companies that are doing any kind of manufacturing, they don't really have time to do handwork. They need to run machines. So at the end of the machine, if there's any packaging and fulfillment that needs to be done, that's where we come in. We either do it, send it to our place and we'll do it, or we have a business model where we send out a lead person. Mm-hmm. We have a quality component, and we like to be at least 5 people. Mm-hmm. But these days we start 2 or 3, and it builds to 5, because once we get there, they always find out why they should have had us there before.
Gotcha.
And the reason is because we do good work. Mm-hmm. Period.
Right. So something that you would put together would be like a syringe, because you got to put 2 tubes together and then the cap.
Well, if that's what you need, that's what we do.
Gotcha.
For example, is it okay to mention company names?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Fine.
So one of our biggest customers over these years has been Clinical Reference Laboratory. So we do blood and urine analysis kits for them, for interviews or whatever they might do for their customers. So we've been doing that since 2003. Mm-hmm. That's an odd story. Don't have time for it. It was really good. But at the end of the day, Tim Soto's chairman of the board. was a really good guy, and we happened to run into him at a unfortunate time for some people, but it was a fortunate time for us. So we got that business, and that's been our bread and butter ever since. In addition to a lot of others, but we've been doing kits and sub assemblies for them for all these years, and of course now with the COVID situation going on, there's a lot of opportunity because clinical reference laboratory, Quest, and all whatever is here, which is that big haven. They've been asked by the government to do lots of kits, and so once that happens, then you work with who you got, and we've been a good supplier for them, and so that's going to bolster our business.
Yeah. How did you go about creating the internal processes? I'm sure there's a process in which you handle the material internally.
Yeah.
Did you create that? Was that already in place?
Well, it's all been trial by error. They've never done this kind of work, right? They didn't know I was going to be doing handwork for a living or whatever you want to call it. I do the marketing. My partner really is the GM. So the handwork that they did down there at Bayesian Industries was for the Hallmark was a similar kind of thing.
Okay.
That's where we really started cutting our teeth. Whether you use big hands, and you had to do some machine work too. We have a stretch string tunnel and L sealers and things like that help that functionality. But at the end of the day, you have to just really look at what the customer has. You have to have good lead persons who can visualize the best way to get the job done. Now, my partner and I and my daughter, Iman, we're doing, succession planning with her. So she's been here with us for 12, 13 years now. And this business is going to be hers.
Yeah.
My partner has children, 2 daughters, but they're just not interested. So you got to have a feel for it. So Iman has gotten into it. She's gotten with it, and she calls herself the boss now.
Yeah.
So the processes that we do are really case by case. But when you have good lead people, they can show you the best processes. It's got to be efficient. We started out with a clinical reference laboratory doing piecework, paid by the piece. So you have to be good, fast, and efficient. And those things lean towards getting the people that can get the job done. And everything works around that. And the throughput is unbelievable.
What's an example of piecework?
Well, I got a company I've just bid a job on, right? So they're processing like 60,000 tubes a week. So it's going into the manufacturing process by machine, but to get there, you have to put them in these trays, one by one. So you've got it. I did it myself. I put 200 tubes in the tray. It took me 20 minutes. Like, that's not what I do.
Yeah.
But you got to figure out the best way to do it, obviously. So what we will do is we will put it in a tray, we will shrink wrap it, send it to them. Real simple stuff.
Yeah.
But in order to get piece rate incentive, we need to give a standard that the person who's putting them in the tray needs to try to make $10 or $11 or whatever it may be. But we want to also get them to a point where we have to bill it this way so that they can make 13,
Right.
And the good people do it and think nothing of it, and it's all good. And we've had the same 4 people plus there's probably another 25 to 30 been with us for years.
Wow.
That's how we've been successful.
And do you guys have automated machines?
Not
if
we don't have to.
It's all humans doing this.
Yeah, and the customers, we have had customers bring machines in that we could do the work, what it may be, they may come and go. Like I told you, we have shrink tunnels. Like right now, we have a shrink tunnel we rarely use, but this job we would use it for. And so most of the things that we do really are just, we build sometimes jigs or something like that helps the process, but for the most part, it's really everything we do is we touch it with our hands.
Gotcha.
So we segment it and get the most efficiency we can out of each step, and it works.
Interesting. How have you gone about attaining clients and growing the business from the client side?
Well, when I started out, I did letters. I wrote every printer in town, every manufacturer, whatever. Followed it. That's when you used to be able to go to the door and knock and get in, and so on and so forth. And it's kind of like once you eyeball them and you prove yourself, then you get a good shot.
Yeah.
And it's really about how you communicate. It's always been that way. That's what sales always is.
Yep.
It has been. But it's just like anything else. You got to believe in what you got. So I believed in what we did because my blood and sweat and tears were in the process and everything else that we did. And that's why I suggested to Hallmark at one point in time, instead of you guys sending all this stuff to us all the time, why don't we bring some people out to Liberty at the distribution center and put our model in there, and then you can save shipping costs. We'll just put people there. It worked like a charm, and before we knew it, within a year or two's time, all the competition was gone. It was just performance packaging, and that's the way we do things.
Yeah.
I mean, and we've had companies around town where we've had 75, 85, 100 people at a time, doing various kinds of things. But really, there's a couple companies that just turned over a lot of things to us. And we've had, just groups, 15, 16, 20 people, nonstop year round.
Yeah. Have you found it difficult to scale humans and manage that many humans?
Well, no. And the reason is because you treat people right. And they tell people. And then from there, it just goes. And so by the time you need somebody, they're waiting at your door. So we've gone through a lot of people. But, Peyton, we've bettered their lives.
Yeah.
We've enriched their lives because they've done us a real justice.
Yeah.
And so we share revenue with them, bonuses when we can. We're a little company. We used to have benefits, and we started out trying to be a big boy, but we realized, you really got to count your pennies because you got to get your margins, or else you can't do anything. You can't keep the doors open.
Especially in your business.
Yeah. I mean, it's
all margin based.
It's all margin based. And what people think when we get onto the premises, they don't understand who we are. They just think we're temp labor.
Yep.
And I keep telling people, no. And we're not. And then they find out we're not. But what happened to us over these processes, over these years, is that, the market got tough. And, they squeeze you and squeeze you and squeeze you, and your margins, you lose your margins. And they put you in that category with temp labor. And they were temp labor because you get new people every time you knock on the door. It's like I need consistency, so that's why we bring models and people that we can trust and depend on, and reliable, and it's going to be there. And so that sets us apart from the competition.
Yeah.
But it squeezes us down until we look like them because the market was tight.
Yeah.
But then, if you stay your course, you'll rise and you'll become what you need to be.
Yeah.
And so getting people has never really been very difficult for us. We just need to be very careful about who we let in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they're representing the brand constantly.
Absolutely.
So what have the past 6 months been like with the pandemic going on?
Well,
business-wise.
We lost one major customer out in Grandview because we were doing sorting of auto parts. They manufacture the parts that go into the fender walls of cars. So that they're sound deadening devices, really is what they are. And they manufacture rubber and plastic and things like that in a heating process that expands. So we lost that business because of GM, the big boys shut down.
Yeah.
They shut down, orders stopped, all that good stuff. So the good news is by the time a couple of months went by and we still don't have the business back, but the revenue that we had been billing came in, so it put us in a better cash position than we were before. So we lost them. That was over about 100 people. And so we lost probably 80% of our business at that point in time.
Wow.
But to be honest with you, because the revenue was out coming in, we were able to weather the storm. Then we got the PPP money and all that good stuff. So, we're chugging along. And now we're in the industry that's really soaring. Healthcare, it always is, but the kits. So we're really building again without the other couple of pieces of business that we lost. But it's just a matter of time. So if everything works out the way God willing,
Mm-hmm.
we'll be in good shape to be able to take on that business again.
Yeah.
It was tough before.
Yeah.
We should be in a better position now to take it on.
Are there any aspirations to open up new warehouses, new locations, get outside the region at all?
You know, no. Yes and no. I mean, that's what I would hope for Iman and the future of the business. And, we want to continue to get stronger so that when my partner and I kind of phase out, which we've been trying to do, that she's able to take it. Younger people like yourselves, Jay Ryan. Jay Ryan's waiting.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the wings waiting. It's like, do you need for me to come in and scoop down?
Yeah.
And hopefully that'll happen.
Yeah.
We're building, like that and the other businesses that we're doing. And so it's all going to happen in time.
Yeah.
But for now, you got to work with what got you there.
Yeah. I think that's one of the greatest gifts you could give to your kids. I know that's one thing Brett and I want to pass off to our, or give the opportunity to our kids one day is on the financial side, business side, being able to pass off, whether it's equity in a company, continue the business, or something along those lines. I mean, that's how you create generational wealth and set your family up for success generations beyond you. So I love to hear that your kids are or want to be involved and want to continue it. Where do you see Performance Packaging Group in 5 years?
Well, I think that we'll be double what we are right now. I really do, because the business is there. We're not any bigger because we can't handle it, And so I don't have anybody out doing the marketing. I did all the marketing and selling for us over the years, and I don't do much because we've gotten in so many places they call, one by one, and so we want good business. I mean, since the pandemic, I've got 3 new accounts. And counting.
Yeah.
And we start with 1 or 2 people at a time, if we can do, and it'll get bigger. So if I lay out 5 or 6 pieces, and somebody who has the wherewithal to go out and really work it, can work it, then all of a sudden your business is like soaring.
Yeah.
So I'm counting on the pieces that we lost to come back, which I know they will.
Yeah.
And we're building a strong base right now. And finally, after all these years, we're really working out our margins. I had a very smart, brilliant guy told me this. He's an MIT and Wharton business graduate, and he's a relative. And it's a tragic thing, though, because, to be honest with you, I'll be Tech Street. Mental health is important. He committed suicide at 50 years old here in Kansas City, and he had already flipped 2 companies or whatever it was. And so, but he's the smartest guy I ever met in my life, hands down. True story. But he said, if you keep your 30% gross profit margin going, you should be able to weather anything, anytime. The key is getting it and not sacrificing it. We sacrificed our margins for volume years ago, and so it has taken 7 or 8 years to get out of that.
Yeah.
And so now, if you build with things coming back, we still have a good foundation on the proper profit margin, gross profit margin, will be fine. And that's what we're trying to teach Iman to understand and whatnot. So we'll be fine in that regard. And then they can build the business any way they want.
Love it. So to end, you and I have been talking a little bit about your venture outside of work with the Soul of Santa. And you and I are going to plan on doing another series, maybe a couple of series or episodes of this when we get closer to the holidays. But just want to touch on that briefly before we end things here.
Okay. Well, I'll try to make it really quick. I was trying to tell you a 25-year concept in 2 minutes. And the bottom line is the soul of Santa is just about what it sounds like. And if you knew a Santa, what's in his soul? What's he really made of?
Joy.
Okay. And so for you it's joy, and for others it could be peace, whatever. And we need all of that now more than ever. And this is what I saw. The Lord gave it to me 27 years ago when he dropped it in my spirit. I could not understand what it was, and it just came out of me, the soul of Santa. So it was deep within. and it's been there forever. So at the end of the day, it's really a peacemaker. The Soul of Santa is really about diversity and inclusion, bringing colors together. We call it Christmas in color, and now we call it Christmas 365 because I've formed a foundation called the Soul of Santa Do Good Foundation. So we're looking at ways to make people's lives better year round. It's not, the holiday is one thing, but when you can do it every day, it enriches people's lives. Mm-hmm. Whether you be like Lott, my daughter, who has epilepsy, had been had since she was 9 years old, or a fellow that I met at Dillard's one day, mm-hmm. and I saw him, and he had these thick glasses on, and his eyes fluttered, and he had a good voice, and he had a keloid in the back of his head, and he just looked like he'd been through. Mm-hmm. And come to find out, he had been through. He was a preemie baby, and nobody thought he'd ever survive, and blah, 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 blah. And this young man has a voice that, like nobody else, vocalist, and he's going to be a part of our offering at 18th and Vine this year. People are going to understand him. So it's about giving everybody a choice and chances. And that's what we believe the Soul of Santa spirit, the spirituality of the Soul of Santa is going to take hold, and particularly here at 18th and Vine, and connect 18th and Vine to the city of Kansas City. That's what we're trying to do.
Well, I can tell you're passionate about it, and we really appreciate you getting us involved and coming on here and using our platform, even though it's not very big, to talk about it and get your message out. And if people want to find out more about your business or Soul of Santa, what's the best way to maybe contact you?
Yeah. Our office number for the Performance Packaging Group is 913-438-2012, www.performancepackaging.group.com. The Soul of Santa is thesoulofsanta.com, all one word.
And you can Google as well, which I did. It pops right up. Soul of Santa with Tucker Lott.
Yeah.
Pops right up.
There it is.
But this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. I'd shake your hand, but we're...
Yeah, well, don't do that to me.
Yeah.
I'm too old. I need to live a little bit longer.
Yeah, and you got a grandbaby coming in a couple weeks.
We do. Yes.
So congrats on that.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We'll get together here end of fall, maybe early winter, and we'll do another episode.
Okay.
Thanks, Tucker.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Great.
All right.
Cool.